Cory Malone coming on the show.
That's right.
Hi, Cory.
How you doing?
Thanks for coming on the program.
Thanks for inviting me. This podcast, first podcast ever.
For you?
Ever.
Hell yeah.
So this is nice.
Boom.
This
Popping
cool.
the cherry.
Popping the podcast cherry.
Podcast cherry.
I love it.
I love it. Yeah, especially because it's a podcast so focused on the nature of reality, and that's what you so dearly care about. So it makes sense.
Of course. Yeah. And we've been connecting for past couple days on that subject, and it's been very flowy and natural.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're, of course, still at the Shift into Permanent Alignment retreat of Bentinho Massaros here in Costa Rica, and we are vibing at a really strong level between us and between several of the other attendees around the nature, the true nature, this abiding as, which many people recognize as just awareness, which is again juxtaposed with the transient clouds and thoughts and perceptions and sensations. So most people get to that level of at least being awareness. And then even further beyond that is making that impersonal, making that eternal, making that shared among us. That is infinitely colored by all of these worlds that we create, and then recognizing even the source realization, the void, the infinite realization.
Yes.
And that we've been vibing on that. So let's play some tennis, and then I'll ask Cory about some of his Satori as well, which has been really exciting to go back and forth on. So how has it been like for you recognizing the impersonal witnessing? So we'll, I guess, even be getting into some of the Satori here as well. How has it been like for you getting into that juxtaposition between those transient clouds and the awareness, and then making that impersonal, and then recognizing that source void infinite?
Yeah, absolutely. Great, awesome question. For me, the easiest thing was kind of how Bentinho says, focus on awareness. That has been the easiest thing for me to do, because you just become aware, and then at first, when you first start, it's you don't really grasp it. You don't really get it. It doesn't really land. But you keep going, and you keep, awareness. Oh, I am aware. I'm aware. Somehow I'm aware. Okay?
Yes.
And then you take that even further and go, oh, I'm aware that I'm aware.
Yep.
And then that pushes you back, and then you see the clouds.
Yes.
So for me, that awareness of awareness gives you that pushback, that view, that broader spectrum.
Perfect.
Of that seeing the clouds and abiding as a awareness itself.
Yes.
Yeah. So that helped me to begin with.
When did you become aware of awareness? When was that for you? When was that transition for you?
It happened in kind of baby steps.
Yes.
I'm not really the type to sit down and meditate. I'm more of an active meditator.
Totally.
Go out for a long walk, just sit here and contemplate.
Yes.
So it'll be just like a moment, aware of awareness.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. That was cool. So it's not like I'm aware of awareness and I'm there permanently now. It's a lot of those. I mean, I can access it now.
Yes.
But it's just a lot of those doing it for a second.
Yeah.
So maybe about 2 years ago is when I was like, because it's so liberating, and you feel your whole body relax, and you feel your experience just relax. What about you?
So great. So that was about 2 years ago or so.
I would say about 2 years ago.
We have to share this right now.
Look at this.
Oh my gosh, this is so cute.
We have some friends.
Wow.
Maybe they'll speak on...
Maybe they'll speak on abiding as infinity. Wow, look at these guys.
Or maybe they are right now.
Costa Rica, little monkeys, look at them.
Look at them looking at us.
Wow. Wow,
That's
awesome. So cool.
That's so cool.
I know. I love that scene. That's so great. That's so great. We got to share that.
Yeah,
I love
that was really cool.
Yeah.
That was almost like...
Perfect.
Yeah,
it was
perfect timing.
Picturesque. So about 2 years ago or so.
For me.
Yeah, for you. And for me, it's probably about 4 months ago or so.
Okay.
Yeah, about 4 months ago. and very similar to what you described. Very, very similar. And that's basically the core of the mystic traditions, is to become aware of awareness itself.
Okay.
And I really like the going back. That's something that also Rumi and so many others have talked about, is kind of the sinking back and back and back, more and more and more. And then you really gain that meta level perspective. And then all these analogies, like the sky, and then the clouds appear and disappear.
Yes.
It's like so easy.
It's easy.
It's childlike in simplicity.
Yes.
And then you recognize that more and more in when you look up at the sky, and then you see the clouds that are moving, and you recognize that that's exactly what's. So it's super important. That's why Douglas Hofstadter called analogy the core of cognition. So it's the core of cognition. It's not just some little area of cognition. It's literally the core. That's why when we use this sky and clouds, or the ocean and the waves analogies, the reason why we use them is because it's the core of cognition. It's what makes it, here's enlightenment, and then here's the sky and the clouds / the ocean and the waves. We draw the comparison between the two because it's the core of cognition. Yeah.
Right. So it's already there as a foundation.
Yeah. Yep.
That's really cool.
It's as above, so below, mirrored everywhere in existence. Yes. There you go.
Awesome.
We as the creators make the as above, so below. It's like the fractal kaleidoscopic creativeness of our.
I like that.
Yeah. Of what we made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I like those words put together too. That was cool.
Yeah. Actually, one of them.
Kaleidoscopic.
Yeah, and one of them actually came from Mr. JB Jordan Bates, who just walked in. Because what this is in many ways is that fractal kaleidoscopic. Mr. JB, you want to join in? Come join in. Say hello.
Up.
Say what up. Yeah. Say what up.
What's up, everybody? Hey, there's a monkey right outside.
We actually showed them. We showed them the
my
monkeys.
God.
We showed them these in the video already. It was
Wow.
already celebratory. Yeah,
What a-
Jordan, in our last episode, which you guys have probably seen, mentioned kaleidoscopic, right? And that's very much what this shirt is pointing to as well, the kaleidoscopic fractalness. And so that's what we share here, is that everything we see is just like the seer itself, just like the source itself. It's all that same patterned self-similarity.
It's just a direct reflection.
It's a direct reflection.
Right now.
Right
here.
now. Perfect.
Absolutely. Or you can even go with the sky here and these
Exactly.
trees right here.
Exactly. Yep. And this is exactly what we shared on the show with Jordan just a bit ago too.
Nice.
Yeah, we shared this similar visualization. So it's okay, so let's keep playing with so now you mentioned how as you get into the aware of awareness about 2 years ago, does it feel like then you're extending the amount of time that you're in that state during the day?
Yes, absolutely. And then you realize more timelessness as well.
Yes.
You don't really feel that, okay, it's 2 o'clock, now it's 3 o'clock. You don't feel that one after another anymore. It's less cause and effect. It's more now.
Perfect.
So, which is really cool.
Perfect.
Once you experience it. It makes life fun for me. It makes life beautiful. It's a different experience, but it is experiential.
Yes.
Before you experience it, it can be conceptual. It really won't make sense.
Yep.
It sounds kind of crazy, woo, whatever.
Yep.
And it has everything contained within it. It has healing properties. You become more of yourself. You become more of service.
Yes.
You are able to flow. You're able to naturally do what you need to do and do your passion. So it's there's no words really.
I love how you indicate that as you abide more in the timeless presence, the timeless being of pure, bare, empty awareness itself that is shared and eternal among us, that time disappears. Along with ego, time disappears. Yeah.
Very
Those
good.
two things are the two
Yes.
that disappear. So
Yes.
the egoic, contracted, separate entity that needs to seek happiness from substances and experiences and
Yes.
other selves,
Yes.
that kind of thing disappears. It dissolves.
Absolutely.
And then also time dissolves. And when time dissolves, you really recognize that timeless presence and being and awareness that's shared and eternal. And then you abide as that more and more, and the realization sets in more and more. The true timelessness sets in more and more.
Yeah, absolutely. So you felt timelessness as
Yes.
well?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Especially in these last couple of months, abiding more
Yes.
is the key, really. Abiding. So for those that are not yet really at this abiding as source or void or infinity, to abide at least as awareness itself.
Start there.
Start there.
Start just being aware of something. Aware of this water here, aware
That's
that
good.
we're talking.
That's good.
It helps just to
good.
be aware of something.
And that's mindfulness.
Mindful, there you go.
Exactly.
Yeah, perfect.
So mindfulness is we take an object, we have these, these sunglasses here, and we focus, or on Cory's shirt, his pink shirt here, or on this fractal shirt, whatever, and we take an object and we just practice, and this is what's taught in Theravada Buddhism, Mahayana Buddhism, a lot of the Buddhist practices, especially in the mystic traditions, even across the Abrahamics, basically what is taught is that to become aware of respiration, and then as you become aware of respiration, you also become aware of concentration at the same time. Because as soon as your attention goes away from the respiration, from the breath, or from the object, right? When you're looking at somebody else in the eyes, and if the moment that you follow one of the clouds of thought to, oh, I have to go to this important thing later today or whatever, you lose eye contact with them, you lose your focus on them, the concentration, and you can tell energetically that the conversational energy decreases because you're not as present there.
Absolutely.
And so that's why they use the breath, because the breath is the tool that's always with you.
Right.
And if you have to, you can use an object like this, but really the breath is the main key. And so as we get more accustomed to the breath, what happens is we become more accustomed to concentration. And when we become more accustomed to concentration, that's when we can recognize the difference between the thoughts and perceptions that are like the clouds that appear and disappear versus the awareness of the consciousness, the witnessing in which they happen. So those are like the frames of the
Absolutely.
movie that go by.
Right.
And to be the one that's witnessing the frames of the movie as they go by. And then you abide as the witnessing, and that's a great first step.
It is. It is. It's the first step. Mindfulness is wonderful. Get familiar with that, but don't stay there.
Exactly.
Don't stay there because it will only take you so far.
Exactly.
And what you really want is to be that aware of awareness.
Yes.
That's the easiest way for me to put it.
Yes.
So it's almost like when I started the aware of awareness practice, it would help to visualize, like almost here's awareness and then I'm aware of this.
Yes.
Like my mind would kind of place something on top of something. So I'm aware of that. So whatever works for you.
Yes.
Whatever work to help you hone into that aware of awareness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. And Ram Dass's I Am Loving Awareness has been something also really powerful, and he and East Forest made a musical collab about that as well.
Nice.
I am loving awareness.
Yes.
And with the great music, it's good to leverage that also to abide in a sense. It's almost as though we can use music, which Alan Watts and so many others have said is very much like the nature of reality, is like the endless music that is played.
Yes.
And so to recognize, and David Hawkins has talked about it as and we talked about this yesterday, the surfing on the crest of every wave.
Yes.
You want to surf on the crest of every wave and not fighting against
Yes.
the waves.
Right.
Or like when you see
Right.
the movie film that comes and then you fight against the movie film. You're like, I want a different movie film. Or like, I don't
Yes.
fuck that cloud. I want a different
Yeah,
cloud.
it's not the shape I like.
Yeah.
This is a cloud,
Silly.
Yeah. But going back to that, which will relate, is how you said the ego kind of dissipates
Yes.
when you practice or abide in that aware of awareness, which is where that comes from. I don't like that cloud. I don't like that thought. I don't like what I just saw. I don't like where my life is going. Okay, no, it's going perfectly if you can swim with that. If you could kind of smooth that out a little bit. It's going to take a little time, maybe not. Depends on what's going on. But smooth that out, surf a little bit, go with the flow. Don't swim upstream.
Yeah. Yep. You're already the oceanicness that is endlessly
Yeah.
exploring. And yet there's also, this is the whole perfecting thing that I think is going to be really crucial as we move forward, which is really what the Taijit do in where you have the monist perfection and then the yin yang inside of it, which is the perfecting. Because here's the thing, because you and I both know this, 5 years ago, right? When we weren't aware of awareness, when we weren't abiding as source, infinity, void, when we weren't doing that, what were we? We were the egoic, separate, contracted energy.
Yes.
Okay. So although that was perfect, because it was going with the flow, it was also perfecting in the sense of the purification of the diamond becoming less egoic and less dirty and becoming more enlightened.
Yes, absolutely.
And so that's the core here, is that as you also, you become at peace with the clouds or with the waves that, or with the images that appear on the movie screen, but yet you also as the witness recognize that there is a constant bifurcations that are happening in your trajectory, and that if you abide more as, hey, I'm going to take that recommendation from, Cory and Atlas talking about Ram Dass or Alan Watts or Bentinho or whoever, and I'm going to pick up Be Here Now by Ram Dass, and I'm going to read that.
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
And so now, you see that bifurcating moment where it's like, am I going to be lazy, lethargic, and not really care too much? Because then there's just going to be another sledgehammer that comes, that,
Oh, yeah.
because suffering is the
Absolutely.
drill sergeant, or will you take it?
Right.
And then that's those bifurcations to perfect the diamond, to cleanse it. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's beautiful, because it will kick you, punch you, slap you into alignment, depending on how far away you're not wanting to go with the flow.
Yeah.
So that's really beautiful. Another thing that helped me as well is the follow the breadcrumb trail of excitement.
Yeah.
I heard that from Bashar
Yes.
a while ago.
Yes.
And I've always loved that, because that's also your flow.
Totally.
So if you can do that, if you can go, okay, well, somebody invited me to go out tonight. What feels true? Not what do I want to do? What feels like, okay, cool. Or that sounds fun. Or something exciting, kid-like. Do that. If it's stay home, do that. Because it'll help you get used to that flow. So maybe that'll help you get used to that awareness as well.
Yes.
And that's something that I like to tell people as well, because it's a cool way to live too.
Yep.
Because it's your higher self going, okay, go that way, do this, take that sip of water, do that, do this, meet this person.
Exactly.
Go with the flow. And you get used to it, and it's like a muscle, and it becomes pretty natural.
Yes.
So.
And Joseph Campbell talks about it like following your bliss.
Yes.
And then also Bentinho talks about it like there's nothing more true about you than the seeking impulse. That's like he calls it the absolute GPS callback, right? And that's what's taught in the parable of the prodigal son.
Yeah.
Right? The son ventures outward seeking peace and happiness in Maya, in the illusion.
Yeah.
Trying to extract it, and then it turns around because it hits a breaking point with suffering to investigate consciousness or awareness itself, that absolute GPS callback.
Yeah.
And so all of these, the breadcrumb trail, that is that.
That is that.
That is that. And so they're
yeah.
all of these different teachings are just different ways, different pointings, different faces of the same mountain, different paths to the one end. As Alan Watts says, many paths, one end.
Yes.
Yes.
That is so cool. And that's why another reason why that's a beneficial way of following your resonance is because everyone has a different path. We talked about this last night as well, or yesterday, I think.
The unique style of finding.
Yes, at lunch we talked about it.
Wadat al-wujud, the unity of all finding. Cory's going to have his own unique style of finding with his own paths, his own books, his own meditations, his own aphorisms, his own teachers, and then I have my own, you have your own, etc. Yeah.
Exactly. And I love all your terminology you're using for all these mystic terminology, because I am not very familiar with that. It's something that may spark an interest in me at some point, but it just goes to show that you can get to the same point without, you don't need to learn the history, you don't need to learn that, just follow what feels right, and that teacher will pop up for you, no matter if it looks that way or that way.
Yep. So. Okay, so now let's talk about, as you've become more and more used to abiding in awareness itself, then you recognize that even that is impersonal, so that our awareness is shared. The awareness of all 8 billion units on the planet is shared. It's the same observation that's happening through all 8 billion perspectives.
Yes.
Okay, and then how has that process been? Like in your day-to-day, right? Here you are sitting here with me. You're abiding as the observation happening through both of us simultaneously.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Cool.
You just abide in that awareness of awareness, and you become more present to the moment.
Yes.
You don't have to practice presence unless that works, but you become more present. And then, like we talked about earlier, that timelessness, you feel that, you experience that. And at the same time, you experience oneness.
Yes.
So right now I'm looking at you, but I feel one.
That's right.
It's not even person to person oneness. It's just
it's a one non-physical spiritual existence.
Yeah.
A non-physical spiritual existence. A one God self.
Right.
Yeah.
Operating as one.
Yeah.
That's one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm interested a little bit on your awareness of awareness.
Yes.
So 4 months ago.
Yes.
Is your approach more meditative? Sit down and meditate? Read? What is your approach? To read or
Yeah, so
or is it moment to moment, like?
Yeah, Sonia and I were actually talking about this today as well. So she asked about my Satori. I asked about hers yesterday. And probably the two core contributions to Satori for me were over the last 5 years picking up meditation. So specifically like Theravada Buddhism, Mahayana Buddhism, specifically like Dzogchen, specifically the other mindfulness and meditation practices, that basically what they do is what we talked about earlier, which is that you become aware of respiration. And then you basically over and over again, like you're at a gym doing repetitions, or you're practicing shooting 3-pointers, or you're practicing playing the violin. What you do is you train the monkey mind to stop running rampantly with clouds, and instead you become aware of the witnessing of those clouds, right? So that was the first key thing, is sitting for these 10 straight days over and over again to practice that. And then the second key thing, so the first keyword is meditation, and the second keyword is polymathy, being a polymath, which means having learned much across many disciplines. So when you study science and you study entrepreneurship and you study spirituality across all the mystic traditions, all this type of stuff, what you end up doing is you build up a really robust lattice work that then assists you in seeing the same mountains, faces, and paths to the one end. So you see all those different paths, and so they're all like concepts in the lattice work: science, entrepreneurship, spirituality merged together, and then they all interplay on this. So then that led up to the piercing of the veilless veil, which was, I cried and went into the fetal position for like 15 minutes once I realized the root. It was Wadat al-Wujud that really landed it for me. It basically took me away from being focused on what was happening externally, and I became permanently focused on awareness. And then I recognized that everybody shares that awareness, and then everybody has their own unique finding.
Right.
And then right when that hit, that clicked as I was reading through Wadat al-Wujud, specifically William Chittick's explanation of it from the Ibn Arabi Society. And I cried. I went into the fetal position for like 15 minutes because I finally, as the Rumi quote goes, you go from room to room looking for the diamond that's already around your neck. And I didn't know exactly. It's so good, and I didn't know what he meant by it. You would read the quote like a dozen times, and over a couple of years, and you never get it. And then I finally got it, and then I said the guy's GOAT, and so he's GOAT, greatest of all time for that quote and beyond. But that was basically it. And then since then, it's also been abiding. Let's actually talk about this now. Abiding as infinity source void. And so for you, what has been the recognition for you as even the source realization or infinity or void realization that the first agent or the first attribute of that is awareness?
Yes.
Yeah. So how has that been for you?
To recognize the awareness to begin with?
To recognize that even awareness is an attribute or an agent, the first
to go
one,
even beyond.
To go even beyond
Perfect.
that.
Let's go beyond.
Okay, good.
Okay, cool.
Okay, go.
So you get familiar with that awareness, and that pushes you back. You see the clouds, you see your thoughts, you see your emotions, all this stuff. But there's more. You can keep going. I would have to relate it to very much relate with Bentinho's work, how he talks about the God state and then the absolute.
Yeah.
On a walk, I was thinking about the absolute. So I was abiding in that awareness of awareness, felt very aware and just very present and very free. And then I just thought of what's beyond that. And then just I can even see it in my my mind's eye right now. It's just this big. There's no way to describe it, but just a void.
Yeah.
Just a void. This big black. There's not even space. It's just so there. And at first I was like, did I just glimpse the absolute? No. But yes, absolutely. And then that's when you realize nothing is even happening.
Exactly.
Nothing's happening. There's not even this experience.
That's right. Yep.
And
yep.
really don't even know how to express it further than that, because there's no words.
Yep.
There's not a thought, there's not a word that can relate to that, because the thoughts, the words are here on this plane, but absolute reality, the infinite is nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Nothing and everything.
And everything.
Exactly. Absolute nothingness and absolute infinity at the same time.
At the same time.
Exactly.
It's this and that.
Yes.
It's nothing and everything. And when I say nothing, it's not a negative thing. It's just, it's not the experience that you feel like you're having.
And that's why the best way to describe it when you say that it's hard to use words that we found so far is the dream. So when you make a dream, you simulate a dream at night during sleep. You simulate the environment and you simulate the observer. So you simulate the little Cory that goes into the dream that then experiences the dream, but then when you wake up the next day, did the dream happen?
Right.
There you go. That's the nothingness that we're talking about. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Which, it's also not to say that this isn't massively relevant.
It's massively relevant and beautiful and truth.
And true.
And play.
And play. And but that's the thing. It makes it more fun. It makes it, okay, this is more flowy, this is more easy. And then you can, realize your purpose, and that's what the creator wants to express through you. Yes. Is that individual purpose of why am I here? And then you can answer those questions so much easier and so much more of a play kind of sense to it.
Yeah.
So what about you for this absolute infinity
Very
experience?
much similar to where you're playing with it. I love that so much. It's like, and as we've talked about several times throughout, keep going. Keep going. When you get past the thought clouds and you get to the observation state, the awareness state, keep going, because then you go from your localized, your personalized awareness to the impersonal awareness, to the shared eternal awareness, to Cory's awareness being the same awareness that this Atlas's awareness, the same awareness that's coming through you guys. And then you begin holding that sort of macro level God state consciousness that incorporates all of these little perspectives at the same time. And then you become that, right? So that's one layer back. And then now, as Bentinho's been using this really good way of understanding it, which is you basically pluck the last thorn, which is awareness, the shared impersonal awareness, out. And then that's what the absolute, the void, the infinite realization is.
Yes.
It's agentless and it's attributeless.
Yes.
Those are the two best words to describe it. Agentless and attributeless, and also absolute nothing and absolute infinity at the same time. And that's what's meant by enlightenment. The no self and the all self at the same time. So that's how I've been. Basically, now the game is abiding as the title of the episode. You abide as awareness first,
Yes.
step one. Abide as infinity second, step two.
Yes.
And that's the game. That's the game.
Right. Yes. Absolutely. And a good way of looking at it is a kind of a spectrum.
Yes.
It's not
Yeah.
I abide as infinity and then that's it.
Yeah.
Life is good.
Yeah.
It's great, man. You know?
Yeah.
No. I thought that too. I was like, okay, it's like a destination. Once I get there, what's going to happen? Am I going to change? No. It's just what we're talking about. You just end up more flowy. Your life becomes more, efficient in a positive way. But yeah, resting as infinities, it's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's cool.
It's the natural state. It's the natty state, as Frank Yang says. It's the natty state.
Yeah.
Yeah. And anything that's not that is also technically the natty state, but it's also what's being perfected towards the natty state.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because you don't want to be the separate entity that suffers.
No.
You want to be the
No.
God state. You want to be the infinite. You want to be that.
Yes. Absolutely.
And it's so relaxing. The contraction, the energetic contraction disappears, dissolves.
That's another beautiful thing is as soon as you do that, you feel your body just relax. Your shoulders drop, you relax. You're like, nice.
Yeah.
That's just, it's, yeah. Right. And any issue you have or whatever, social anxiety, depression, it'll just naturally flow away. Really. If you keep abiding in this.
Yes.
If you keep doing this. And so if it doesn't matter how long it takes, if this is something that's truly pulling you towards, just keep going.
Yeah.
That's what you know.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All of these different wells, another way to view the wadat al-wujud, the unity of all finding, is like all of the different wells. These are the different styles. We all dig these different wells in different parts of the world. But guess what's at the bottom of every one of the wells?
Yeah.
Fucking water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So you have that water underneath, and then you have the wells, which I guess are the people, the person consciousness up here.
Yes.
So keep digging, and then you're gonna hit that.
Boom. And then the oceanicness is
Yeah.
there. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I love it.
It's so good.
That's cool.
And so see how analogy is really the core of cognition. All of these different analogies make it easy because they're just the different pointings, different ways to point to the same end that then make it easier for people to see it.
Yes.
Because you're always already free. You're always already the absolute. And yet it remains for you to recognize it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That is another wonderful point, is you're already there.
Yeah.
It's like that awareness of awareness, and even beyond that, the infinity is just
Yes.
whatever back here waiting for you.
Yes.
It's going, I'm here when you're ready.
Exactly.
And then you just kind of melt into it. And
Exactly. That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
It's the background. It's the undercurrent. The background, the
yes.
undercurrent. Nisargadatta Maharaj says that the absolute abide as that which is behind and beyond all that is movable and transient.
yeah.
And so it's the undercurrent, the background, like you said, and it's there always. It's like laughing at you
Yeah.
always. Like, why do you keep suffering? Come back to me.
Yeah.
Come back to me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's just like, come on, man.
Come on.
Don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Or do it. That's fine, but I'll be here.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
And the Maya, source in many ways can be described by source equals awareness plus Maya. So at the beginning of this creative exploration that this is, this specific one, what happens is that awareness is very low and Maya is very high. The intoxication, the illusion is very high. Then what happens over time in the creation is awareness increases and Maya disappears because we become less intoxicated by the illusion and we become more of a Gnostic beings. We know our true nature.
Yes.
And that's where we're going with this enlightened civilization as we're all building towards.
Yes.
And so the next creation follows a very similar pattern, which is awareness starts off and we go through the rebirths, the nirvana, the samkara and the nirvana over and over and over again with our rebirths until we finally liberate ourselves from the illusion, from Maya.
Yes.
And then it doesn't even matter because nirvana and samskara are the same thing, because what happens is that when you go into the next creation, you just do the same thing.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to wake up to infinity the next time we do this again. Yeah.
Right. It's not like the end.
It's not that. Yeah.
It's not, I realize infinity, that's it. That's
Yeah.
the end. No. It's just the start.
All you can do once you've realized it is to serve other people. There's
Yes.
nothing else you can do.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the good thing is, it's naturally serving to other people. Yeah. It's not like you got to think about it. Well, you don't think anymore, really.
You don't.
You think less and less.
Yeah.
So
it's spontaneous flow and creativity at that point.
yes, absolutely. Another thing that came up while we were talking about this was, I don't know who said this, but the analogy of tennis.
Tennis, yeah. I was saying that the last couple of days.
If I hit you the ball, I'm not going to run after the ball to try to hit it back to me because I want to do that. No, we're going to be in flow state and do that. Or it's like if you're playing catch with a dog, you throw the ball. You're not going to run after the ball. You're just going to sit back and relax, and it's going to come right back to you.
Boom.
So, just visualization, analogies really help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of these podcast conversations are tennis. We're just hitting the ball back with a creative, unique, spontaneous thought around abiding as awareness and infinity and our true nature.
Yeah.
And then we're just creating the conversation spontaneously back and forth. Whereas what it used to be like, for me at least, 5 years ago, it used to be much more of a deeper concern with this person.
Right.
I used to, wonder, how can I get peace and happiness from everything?
Yes.
And so that's this big difference.
Yes.
You become peace and happiness as your true nature.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And it heals that too. If you have any sort of addiction to whatever, it just kind of breaks that pearl chain, It just chops it in half every time you do it, and the pearls will start falling off. So, yeah, you're right, because we chase happiness to begin with people, places, things. Yeah. But then, you just keep going.
Yeah.
That's great.
And you keep going, and suffering keeps acting as the drill sergeant, and you can respond to the feather. And if you do, like Warren Buffett says, the eighth wonder of the world is compound interest. If you respond to the feather, you will gain compound interest because you will suffer less. But if you wait and don't answer those knocks from the feather, you will fucking get a sledgehammer.
You'll get punched in the face,
You will get
man.
punched
Trust
in the
me.
face. Because the suffering gets worse. Yeah, me too.
It's a lot, dude.
Yeah.
But it's good.
It's good.
Because then it makes you appreciate it more.
Yeah. We designed it so that Maya would punch us in the face.
That's so great.
That's a great way to put it. We designed it so Maya would punch us in the face.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But, you can look at it however you want. It's like, if something triggers you, you just go, that's just me poking myself. So why do I want to keep irritating myself or punching myself?
Yes.
So you realize that from a higher, point of view, that's what you're doing. Because you want to wake up to this. You want this. You want this. This is what you want. You don't want to suffer anymore.
Yes.
We've done that for too long.
Yep. Wow. Okay, gorgeous convo.
That was awesome.
That's such a good convo. Let's wrap on a fun question. Yep. Let's do, what is most beautiful?
What is most beautiful? What's coming up for me, this might be just how my personal experience is, that transformation.
Oh, perfect. Oof.
I can look back 5 years, 10 years and go, who the hell?
Yeah.
Who's that guy? Who's that guy? And you go, I'm so proud of myself. I love myself. This is great. Yeah. And I love everybody. Yeah. So I don't know, the personal transformation to me. What about you?
Perfect answer.
Yeah. I love you,
so much. What a good one. Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah.
That was wonderful.
Yeah. What a good one. Yeah. I'll second the answer. Such a good one. Beautiful. Wow. Great timing. Love you all. We love you. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're so grateful.
Very.
We would love for you to leave your thoughts in the comments below on what we talked about. Let us know how you feel. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Like the video, support it so that it gets up in the algorithm. Share the video with other people that you know it would make a profound influence on. And also check out the links in the bio below. We'll put some of Cory's links in the bio for you to check out. What's a good place for people to check you out on? What platform?
I have Instagram. I have 4 pictures on there. I'm in my own transformation right now. I don't
Perfect.
have a lot, but soon
More.
we'll have some stuff.
Perfect. So we'll put the Instagram down there for now.
Perfect.
And abide.
Do it.
Abide. Shift from the person to awareness, and then make that impersonal and eternal, and then abide as infinity, as void, as source. We love you. We adore you. Thank you.